coin. Um,
Well, we want to say hello and welcome to you, yes, and especially you. Welcome to the Tom Ford Fridays. And again, we're talking about questions women want men to answer. Look here, the Tom Ford Fridays, barbershop conversations with the men only, where the ladies are the butterflies on the wall, is brought to you by none other than Renee Noor with the Global Women Wealth Warriors, as well as the GW3 Club on Clubhouse. And we're live right now on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the Clubhouse. We've got a fantastic show scheduled for you on today. We've got the men in the house. We've got Steve here on the live with us. We've got Fayez, Jeffrey, Chris, Michael, Jeff, James, and Maurice in the house on the Clubhouse. And we'll be speaking to you from the Clubhouse as well as on the live. So look at here. If you haven't already, go ahead and share this out on Clubhouse, share it on Facebook and YouTube. Call some folks in and let them know they need to be tuned in right now, because you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss these questions that are going to be answered, that women want to be answered. I'm Pastor Jeff. I'm your host, and we're going to get right to it. Now, let me give that disclaimer. The opinions of those on the show as well as on the Clubhouse are indeed their opinions and their opinions alone. They do not reflect the opinions or the sentiments of Renee Noor, the GW3 Club, or the Global Women Wealth Warriors. With that, let's go ahead and bring Steve up. He's going to tell you who he is very briefly and what he does, and then we're going to go on to the Clubhouse. Hey, Steve, how you doing today?
I am doing all right, Pastor Jeff. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Steve.
All right. Thank you so much for letting me in the space. It's amazing that we are connecting once again on this Friday. My name is Steve Johnson. I am Director of Risk Marketing, CEO of Proper Style High and Visualize High. Those are the e-commerce platforms. I do writing. I am a poet, writer, investor, also do coaching. I motivate people if somebody is in anxiety or depression. I also help people with relationships if they have concerns. So that's what I do for a living. And my hobbies are interacting with people and also paragliding, biking, mountain hiking.
Thank you so very much, Steve. We're always glad to have you here as one of the regulars on the Tom Ford Fridays. We'll go to the Clubhouse, and I see Minister Jonathan. Minister Jonathan, are you with us? All right, we're not hearing from Minister Jonathan, and so we're going to go right now on to, I see that we have with us Jeffrey. Jeffrey, how are you?
How you doing, Pastor Jeff? How's everything?
Doing well. Tell us very quickly who you are and what you do.
My name is Jeffrey Lubin. I have a fashion consulting and production company. I've been in the fashion industry for over 20 years. The name of my company is Jeffrey Lubin Group, and we provide fashion show production and designer consulting. We help build businesses in the fashion industry.
Thank you so very much, Jeffrey. And we also have on the Clubhouse, and we're going to come back to the live. And look here, you can click on the link there on Clubhouse. Click on that link at the top if you want to watch live and you really want to see these debonair men here. We're going to go to Mac Tight from Mac Tight Radio. Mac, how are you on this good Tom Ford Friday?
Greetings. How you doing, Pastor Jeff? Doing lovely on this Tom Ford Friday. It's a pleasure to be here. Me, myself, Mac Joker, CEO of Mac Tight Entertainment, Mac Tight Radio, and host of the Ready to Learn show and podcast. Looking for an exciting, fantastic Friday to spend with the GW3 on this Tom Ford Friday.
Thank you, Mac Tight, for joining us. You are a regular as well, and we can't wait to get you back on the screen. We see down in the listening lounge, we got James, we got David, we got Maurice, we got Jeff, and we got Torrance. Look at here. The men are in the house on today. Again, click on that link at the top. We're not going to waste any time coming back on the live. We've got Chris Collins with us. Chris, welcome to Tom Ford Fridays. Tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do very quickly.
I'm a founder of a 501c3 charity called Hope, and we are going to implement a solution across the world and end poverty and bring it to prosper. We give every one of our people a home. Let our children know that they are the solution to every adult's problem, and they're inheriting every one of them. But we want to empower them, and we just want to show the world that you do have an opportunity to have an equality life. And I was born into this, that never owned any property as I was a kid being born, but our children are now going to own property, and they're never going to have it taken from them. It's time to give the world to them and let them have a legacy that'll live on forever.
That is wonderful, Chris, and I especially like the fact that your nonprofit is called Hope, because here in the GW3, we are hope dealers. And so we're glad to have you the part of the family. Look, we're not going to waste any time, gentlemen. You know the routine. We start out with 2 questions that the women want to ask. Now, Pastor Jeff, for some of these questions, I had to reframe how the question was asked, but I'm going to stay with the intent of the question because I had to put it in what I believe was a positive light, because ladies ask questions the way ladies do, and men say what they mean, and they mean what they say. So the first question is this. The ladies want to know, why is it that men will lead a woman on that they know they're not going to marry? They know she has no future in their life. Why would they continue to lead them on? We're going to go with our newest guest because we are courteous that way. Chris, what about it? What do you think? Why is it that men will lead a lady on that they know they have no intentions on marrying?
Well, that is a great question that needs to be answered. And the one thing about it is men, they don't like to be alone. And a woman will have their back even when they don't have theirs. And that's something that I think we are grown to know, that women have empathy where men don't. And we're not giving them what they need inside. Just as you said, we were leading them on knowing that we wasn't going to have that relationship, because that woman's giving us the relationship that we need. Because men can't have the sympathy that a woman has, even though we try.
Okay.
We're not the same thing. And I do believe that a woman is trying because she can put her whole self in, and then a man will sit back and take. And that needs to stop, because the women are our superpower. And without them, we wouldn't be here.
I hear you. I hear you, Chris. With that, that's a very good answer. I hope the butterflies are listening. Men don't want to be lonely, and men are catching up in that area of empathy. Steve, how about it? Why is it that men will lead a woman on when they know she has no future? They're not going to marry her.
Depends on situation and person to person messages. That if you fall for somebody, then there is no leading. You will go for it, no matter they have anything or not. You are a God man, so you only look towards the humanity. You try to elevate people. So in that case, also that and will marry. But if it is for time pass, if it is they just having fun around, if they have other relations going on the other side, and they are just wasting their time and the other person's time, so then it's a different situation now. So it depends upon the upbringing. It depends upon the manners of a person. It depends upon the person that how he is looking into that relationship or into that bond, what he's looking for. If it is only just material, then definitely he will not go for it. If he is looking for a piece of heart, sometimes what happens, they don't even have the money. They don't have anything. Just talking to them will make you feel better. So some people do it for, they have life and they're living one life at home, but they have somebody to listen to them and they go ahead and spend time with them. So they can lead them towards that. They can lead them towards their home. And sometimes if they have wife already and they want to marry another one, they can't do it because there are some, in different communities, there are some issues, problems. You can do that. Some people allow you to do that, some people don't. So it depends on different situation, different person to person. So what is their, situation, where they are coming from, what's their mindset like? So it depends upon that. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Steve says that there are some internal factors and there are some external factors as well. It has to do with your environment. So thank you, Steve. We'll go to the clubhouse. Start out with my namesake, Jeffrey. We're going to start with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, question is, why is it that men will lead a woman on when they know they're not going to marry her? How about it, Jeff?
Now, I don't play those games. Like with me, myself, personally, when I was single, I was very straight up.
So, Jeff,
right?
tell us really quick then, what have some of the men that you've been around? You know some men that do that.
I mean, I advise my friends to be the same way. Don't waste their time. Just let them know, hey, I'm not looking for something serious right now, or I'm not sure right now. And, at one time you could maybe thought that you're going to go somewhere with the woman and you got to know the woman more and you change your mind. I think the best policy is just to be straight up with them. If you let them know ahead of time what's going on, it will save a lot of headaches and stress. I advise my friends, my cousins, my relatives to do that. Now, why other men does it? Hey, they're not truthful, but I think the best bet is to be straight up. Now, sometimes you can be straight up with some women and they still want something more. So I think you be straight up and it will cause you less stress.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. Jeff says, look here. We've already said it. Establish it. The men say what they mean what they say. So be straight up. Don't fool around with a woman and her feelings. A scorned woman is a dangerous woman. Look at here. Mr. Anderson in the comment says that, hey, I'm just getting in here, but why are the questions already put men in a bad light or a bad situation? Well, Mr. Anderson, let me tell you what we do in the format here is we ask two questions that the butterflies, the ladies, that's what we refer to them as butterflies. We ask two questions that they want to ask men. The title is Questions Women Want Men to Answer. And so I try to put it in as positive of a light as I can. But these are the questions that the ladies want to know. Now we're going to move to some questions for some men once we get through the first two that we ask, which are questions that the women have submitted. And that's why when you just come in, you're getting these questions because these are the questions that the women want men to answer. Now, we know we got some men on here that say what they mean what they say. With that, we're going to go to Minister Jonathan. Are you available, Minister Jonathan? Flash your mic. All right, Minister Jonathan is not available, so we're going to go to Mac Tight. Mac Tight, look at here. We know that you have no problem answering this question. Why is it, Mac, that men lead women on when they know they don't intend to marry?
First, great question. Great question. I would say the simplest answer would be sometimes more than others, it's just that responsibility. I think that some men don't want that extra, the extra steps of that commitment and responsibility that marriage is gonna bring. Therefore, they stall, procrastinate, draw it out as long as possible, and then especially if they're receiving something. If they're receiving something and they don't have to make that extra step to commit and take it to that next level of marriage, and more times than not, then they'll procrastinate and draw it out as long as possible.
Becca, you said if the man is receiving husband benefits, then he really sees no need to make a commitment.
Basically, yeah.
All right. I just wanted to make sure it cleared up. We don't want to put words in your mouth, but we want to make it
but
clear.
that can be financially, sexually. I mean, as long as there's a benefit or something on their receiving end. So.
Absolutely, Mac. Thank you so very much for your transparency. We're going to go ahead and move down to Torrance, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Torrance, are you with us? Flash your mic. All right, Torrance, we'd like to know. The question is, you've heard it. Why is it that men will lead a woman on when they know that they don't plan on marrying that woman?
I mean, it basically is in his life. Me for a long-term relationship. Maybe that person just wants something for there and now. It really depends on the conversations that they've had. But some men want to go to another level, but don't know exactly how to get there. So it's a combination of maybe in the beginning, he thought, hey, we could actually go here. But then actually after being with her for a while, it's like there's certain things that he can't get over. So sometimes, I mean, men are confused as well as women. Sometimes when they're getting up front. So am I doing good, or am I going to find somebody else in the meantime? So it really depends on that, I would say.
Thank you, Brother Torrance. And what I heard you say is that sometimes the men are confused themselves. Sometimes the men may have intentions of commitment, but they see some red flags that they say, hey, I'm just not going to deal with it. Is that basically what you said?
That was perfect. It's pronounced though, but that is perfect.
All right. Thank you, Torrance. We're going to move over to David. David, are you with us? Flash your mic on Clubhouse. David, you heard the question. Go ahead. Let us know your answer to why it is that men will lead a woman on when they know they don't plan on marrying.
Excellent question. I think there's a couple of different reasons, and some of the men definitely spoke on it. If I go back to my old self, my butthole self, many years ago, when I have done that in the past. Just a little background before I give my answer. I was divorced, and so after a period of divorce, then hurting people, where they intentionally hurt people or don't intentionally hurt people. But I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt anybody, but sometimes you do that just out of being in a bad place. And so if you are with a man who maybe has gone through rejection himself, then he may not be in a position spiritually and from a maturity level to even be able to give a commitment, but yet he's still out there wanting to have the female companionship. So the history of that man may be a part of why he's not committing. And so for me, at a certain point, there was a part where it's just simply greed, sin. Let's call it what it is. Lots of us men are sinful and greedy. That could be one situation, but that's not all. That's not every man. So that's just some places. But I like to speak to what really brought me out of it, because I went from someone who swore off marriage again, being a divorced person. I was like, I'm never gonna get married again. Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. I gave it what I gave it my all, and it didn't work. So then I went from that to now I'm married, happily married, loving it. And my wife even said not to. She said kind of often, she's like, David, I knew you would come around, or I believed that you would come around, because I've dated the same person for a while before we got married, off and on. And she's like, I figured that you would kind of get it together at some point, but I never thought that you would be the one who is like the poster child for marriage and loving to be married. And which I love marriage. I love being married. I never thought I would be that person. So what really kind of got me from one extreme to the other was a lot of things. I'm not going to go over all of them. That's probably a whole podcast by itself.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So I'll just real quick. One was the fact that I had to look at things from an internal perspective. But then what really kind of helped me really fall in love with my wife is had me to see that she really was a good fit for me in certain areas. So to a woman out there, you have to see if you're a good fit for him. If a man is an entrepreneur and, let's real quick, let's say he's a chef and you're good with numbers, then you could be his person that helps with the numbers while he's very good at cooking, but he's horrible with numbers. Or you could be good at cooking and someone else could be great with numbers. But finding whatever it is that he's lacking, and then if you are actually good at that, and then now you can build a team, and now you have vision. So whatever that vision is, you have a role, he has a role, and it's not about the money or anything like that. It's just about having a role, and you fulfill that role. Then that man was like, I need her. You got to get to a point where the man sees that woman and says, I need that woman. I need her in my life. She's providing something that I absolutely need. And it could be anything. Everybody's different. So it could be stereotypical. But finding that is a very important part. So I'm in my plan.
Thank you, David, for your transparency and your honesty. And what I heard out of that very succinctly is that, first of all, as my friend Dr. Caxton Perry would say, is that you have to be ready, be right, and be able to relate to one another. But I also heard you say the man might have some baggage that he hasn't unpacked yet and find himself on the rebound. And so he's just confused. He has good intentions. Doesn't he really realize that he's got the baggage? I like to say sometimes we all have baggage. It may be an overnight bag or a 10-piece set, but we don't know that we've got it. Thank you so very much. We're going to move. We see that Jonathan has joined us on the live. We're going to come back to Jonathan after we go to Maurice. Maurice, flash your mic if you're with us.
Hey, Pastor Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing well, Maurice. Thank you for joining us on these Tom Ford Fridays on today. We're glad to have you. Hope this isn't the last time that you're here. You've heard the question, Maurice. Why is it that men will lead a woman on when they know they have no intentions on marrying?
Thank you, brother. I believe in breaking this down to its most simplest thing. If a man is leading a woman on and they have no intention of committing to marriage, they are receiving something from that woman that they know if they say they don't want to get married, they'll stop receiving. Plain and simple. There was a book and a movie that came out a couple of years ago said, he's just not that into you. If a man is into you, he is going to commit and marry if that's what he wants to do. If he, as the ladies have asked, is leading you on, he's getting something that he really likes and doesn't want to give up. It's as simple as that.
Thank you so very much, Maurice. Von Bell says, find a thirsty man and hold a glass of water just out of reach. Well, you know what, Von? There's so many women that hold the glasses out. We'll just go to the next glass that is in reach. Hey, I'm just going to move over to Jonathan. Jonathan, I see you take your glasses off. You've heard the question, Minister Jonathan. The question is, again, why do men lead women on when they know they have no intentions to marry them? Over to you, sir.
Okay, sir. So normally I come on this broadcast, I try to be very low key and very laid back and very neutral with my answers. I try to make everything PC, but not today, baby.
Hey.
I had to do a lot to get over here to this broadcast. Let me put the shades on and let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, in today's construct in dating, it's nowhere like it was, say, 20 years ago when I was a younger man. This whole idea, like I hear a lot about, well, you have to plan this, you have to do that. That sounds good when you're married or maybe trying to get married. But the bottom line, if you're dating, women today are much more aggressive than they were in times past. Number one, women, I don't know if nobody knows this, but they themselves want sex as much as guys do. And as a matter of fact,
Jonathan. Tell it, Jonathan.
And as a matter of fact, if we really want to be honest about leading on, there are women today that will tell you, I'm not trying to get married. I already been married. I'm done. I want to have a good time. Are you down with that? Okay. Do you want to come with me to Chateau Elan for a weekend? Do you want to come with me? We want to go down to Miami for a weekend. No strings attached. So this idea that guys are out there just running around like predators, not in today's construct. I'm just saying. So
Jonathan.
I'm just breaking it down. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that I'm out here trying to do all of that, but I will tell you that dating as we do it today is really, especially if you're saying you are someone that has, Christian beliefs, there's very little room for you. Because I'll tell you another thing is if you say that you want to remain celibate in a relationship, sir, I can tell you many women are going to cut you off. And they're going to say, girl, I don't know what's wrong with him. Oh, girl, he didn't do anything. No, he might be gay. He might be bi. You need to leave him alone.
Come on,
I'm just saying. So, I want to take the gloves off today, and talk plain, especially if you're under 50 years old. And if you please don't be a millennial, man. I don't know how these guys stay right. I was listening to a show the other day where the woman came on and said, oh, I want to operate my sexual freedom. And for the older women getting boy toys, they said, listen, I was unfulfilled. I was undesired in my marriage. I'm about to have a good time. So where's the 25-year-old? I'm just saying.
Jonathan. I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off, Jonathan, because you on a roll. You finally got warmed up. But look here, Jonathan, you telling the absolute truth. You came and flipped the script. And I have to say, you're telling the truth, Jonathan. You're absolutely telling. So, like you said, now you try to be a gentleman. And that's just not now. It's been a little while. You try to be a gentleman and they want to know what's wrong with you. Like you say, that question comes up. Are you a part of the LGBTQ? And the girlfriends, like you say, when they had that butterfly talk, that butterfly said, you better go find someplace else to land. Look at here. I just want to add this part before we go to the next question. This one has been a good question. I rephrased it a little bit, but the simple truth is, as we've heard all of these other elements that apply, that are part of the answers, I want to go back to what Chris said. Men don't want to be alone. The scripture tells us. Those of you who subscribe to the best-selling book in the world of all times, the Bible, the creator himself says it's not good for man to be alone. And Jonathan, while we are telling the truth, how many women want a man that no other woman wants? So men understand the game is that as long as you have a woman, then you can get another woman. But when you don't have a woman, no woman wants you. Look here. That's just the truth about the matter. So ladies, there it is. You've heard it from several different men, all from all ages, that we've told you. We've answered that question. Why men lead women on when they know they don't plan on getting married. And if a man's leading you on, maybe it's because you led him on first and you're giving him all the benefits of a full commitment without him making that commitment. And look, I don't know if there's anybody in the room, on the live or in the room. If you have a job and you could stay home 7 days a week and your employer still gives you the paycheck that you get now, that you would keep going to work. I would submit that some of you might go a couple of days, Jonathan. And then when you realize that, hey, I can just stay home and I'm going to still get the same paycheck. Oh, I might even moonlight and go over here and get a job where somebody requires me to be there and get 2 paychecks. Somebody understands what I said. All right, let's go ahead to the next question that the ladies want to ask. This is the next question. And again, men, you know, these are the questions that the butterflies want to know. So the second question is, why are men insensitive? All right. And some of us are going to have to answer this just off of other men that we know. Why are men insensitive after infidelity and want immediate forgiveness? That's the question, Jonathan. I'm just asking the questions. I'm the conduit. That's not the way that they ask it, but I'm going to try to put it as politically correctly as I can. Basically, they want to know, why do men cheat and then want immediate forgiveness? We're going to start out on the clubhouse. We're going to go all the way down to Brother Maurice. Brother Maurice, very quickly, we want to move through this question pretty quick. Women want to know, and this is just from our opinions, why men cheat and then want immediate forgiveness. These are the questions the butterflies want to know.
You had to go to me first on this one. Brother, honestly, I can't answer that question. Number one, infidelity is a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't do infidelity at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know men who do. That's just not something in my circle. So I can't answer that question.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you put it that way, because I think some of the butterflies need to hear that there are some men who don't even consider that. And they don't even hang around folks who do. David, how about it?
Yeah, I'm trying to draw an answer on that one as well. Why do they want immediate forgiveness? I think, and I'm just going to go off the top of my head, I think that the man wanted immediate forgiveness. I mean, the only reason I guess, because I never, that wasn't my thing, infidelity. It would happen to me, I did it, but it was a very small chapter. It wasn't the bulk of my life. It's been monogamy, and even when I was in relationships. But I think that if a man really wants forgiveness, like immediately, one, he has no empathy. And men in general are low in empathy. And it took me a long time to really understand empathy, to where I actually get it now. It took a while. But then also, it could just be that, I don't know if it's a marriage, or if it's a relationship, but it could just be that the man just, doesn't love you. If he's not, doesn't have any empathy, he cheats on you, if he's also at the same time, like, just get over it, that's so insensitive. If you did something, then there should at least be some remorse and some contrite heart, some contrition. If there's no contrition, that's just a butthole. I don't know how else to say it.
All right. Before we go to the next, our next king, just want to remind you, look here, ladies, butterflies on Clubhouse, put some black and white hearts into the chat. Put some black and white hearts in the chat. Go ahead and click that square with the up arrow at the bottom of your screen. Share this out, not only on Clubhouse. Look here, put something intriguing into the comments so that they will come in when you share it out, because we need to get the ladies in here. We need to get the butterflies here. We need to get the men in here. And go ahead and share it on your other platforms, on your Facebook, on your YouTube, on your Twitter. You can do all that and invite some folks in. Use every one of those means when you click on that square. If you're on Facebook and on YouTube, look here, please share. Let me say it one more time. Share, because the more you share, the more people that are able to benefit from these conversations. And I tell you, we want to thank these men to come in for these barbershop conversations. They are transparent and being authentic and answering these questions, even though we may feel like these are some negative questions, but we're answering the questions anyway, because ladies, hey, that's what you want to know. We're going to answer those questions for you. So since we're answering them, go ahead and get some more folks in here. Put some black and white hearts if you're on the Clubhouse. Let us know. And look, we need to get some shares. We need to get some shares in. We see there's 30 people in here right now. Oh, yeah, 27 shares. Somebody say that's about 97%, Pastor Jeff. But look, if you shared it once, go ahead and share it again. You know how it is. You get that good thing, you want it more than just one time. Back tight, back tight. You heard the question. The butterflies want to know, why do men cheat and then want immediate forgiveness? What about it, Mac?
I would have to say that it's that macho ego. Because when it comes to infidelity, I feel that, you know, the man more so would, how should I put it? When it comes to infidelity, the macho ego kind of comes into play, meaning that if that's the issue at hand, it would be, or how should I put it? It would be more
straight,
it'd be
Mac.
more
Put it
so the
straight.
female, than the man. That would be my guess.
All right, thanks, Mac Tight. We're gonna go over to Chris. Chris, how about it?
Because the man doesn't want the woman to go cheat on him. You want to get down straight to it. That man's asking for forgiveness because the woman actually can hold back from the restraint of being envious and going and being spiteful. But there is women out there that's spiteful as well. But that man is asking that question and trying to beg for that forgiveness because he don't want you going to share what he already has and he's about to lose.
All right, Chris. Chris can't win it straight. We're going to go to Jonathan, who is the straight shooter today as well. He took the glasses off, put them back on, and I don't know if they're going to be on or off. But Jonathan, you got the question. What's your answer?
Well, I think it depends on the situation. I know a guy married with children. That's the only experience I've had with a friend of mine. Unfortunately, did that. The guy didn't want to get jacked up with his relationship with his children. He didn't want his wife to cut him off and put him in a situation where he couldn't see his kids. So that was the only experience I've ever had with, you know, someone doing that. The other reason, I guess, would be what the brother said before. That, yeah, you know, I'm trying to find a good way to say this. Bottom line, I disagree with what he said. I think that guys are more sensitive about other guys doing that to their wives or girlfriends. I don't know what it is with guys. We don't like that. Women seem to be able to deal with that a little bit better than us, but yeah, we don't like that at all. But those are the only two reasons I would think of. Huh?
Jonathan, look here.
Yes, sir.
Are you saying, sir, that some men find it okay to go into somebody else's house when they don't want nobody in their house?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just want to get some clarification here,
I mean,
Jonathan.
let's keep that extremely real. That's an ego thing. That's a pride thing. And again, I don't want to get too, but somebody, you just don't want to go behind somebody else. I'm just saying. So I mean, listen.
Jonathan, you bring up a point. I'm gonna have to ask a follow-up question with that one, Jonathan. Go ahead.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, it's just that as guys, we feel some kind of way about that. That's why you don't hear a guy being any kind of side piece. That's reserved to women. You don't hear guys talking about involved in anything like that. I shouldn't say that. Today's a whole different story. So let me not say that. Today, guys. Anyway, yeah, man. I just think the biggest problem is I think our society, to some degree, has gotten this way over the last 30 or 40 years with the whole thing back in the 60s about, make love, not war, and free love. It has accelerated to where we are now over the last 40 or 50 years, where we almost are in a hypersexual society. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we have problems with, being serious for a second, that's why we have problems with women being kidnapped, kids being kidnapped, child pornography on the rise, all that stuff is because we make everything sexualized. And it's really too bad, man. I mean, it just puts, and that's why there's so much pressure, I believe, on relationships. I didn't mean to divert from the question, but that's it, man, because it really gets back to something involving sex and the thrill of that and the excitement. I guess we're too bored. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Well, listen, Jeff, speaking of that, I have to sign off now, kind sir. Brothers, it was nice meeting you guys virtually.
Well,
Look
thank you,
forward to meeting
Jonathan.
you guys in person. Peace and blessings.
Look for you on next week. Steve, we're coming to you. Very quickly, Steve, very quickly and succinctly, Steve. Why is it that men cheat and want immediate forgiveness? Are you there, Steve?
I have to turn off the clubhouse because it's gonna echo.
All right.
Volume. All right. Anyways, why do men do that? Because infidelity, cheating, can have a lasting impacts on the partners and children too. So what happens to grief, which brain changes and behaviors down the road? What happens and mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression. So what happens when a person cheats? So there is a good person inside as well. So he feels that no, I shouldn't do this, because if you go check it and do the survey of more than 50 to 60% men do confess that what they are doing. Why? Because first of all, unless it is not in the dark, it's not behind the curtains, they're not going to say it. Now, if they see that it's opening up, they are coming to know, they will come up, show them, I'm the man, okay, now I have to confess this thing. I hurt you. And end of the day, when we are totally feeling that this person deserves to be in my life and I don't want to hurt them anymore, whatever I did, this was a mistake. Because sometimes we get tempted, we have desires, we have those wants that we want to do something extra, which we don't have experiences. So men try to jump in here and there. But reason, why do men cheat? That's the main reason. So if a woman, she is taking care of a man's heart and, sexually, physically, mentally, everything is good, he's not going to do that. If he does somehow, he was influenced by somebody, he was put into this situation by somebody, or it happened because of the relationship. Sometimes men do this to teach their women that, no, you're not doing that what I want. So that's why they go ahead and they confess. Sometimes, it depends on person to person as well. So sometimes they try to put them down. Okay, you're not good there. You're not taking care of me. I am doing this. I have done this. Sometimes they feel guilty of it. They don't want to do it. They want a confession. Because when we confess something, we go to the churches and you have done anything, confess. What happens? We feel relaxed. We feel released. Okay, I'm now clean. At least whatever that pressure, that anxiety, that depression is in my mind, it's gone because I should. No matter what the repercussions are, they fight for some time. They will do things, and then end of the day, they come back to the relationship and they talk to each other, and she will tell her, don't do this again. And if he is a good person, he will not do it. But if he's habitual of doing all this, some people are like narcissistic. They would do it. They'll do it and they'll tell their partner, hey, I did this. And do it once again, So depends upon person. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Well, butterflies, I want you to open your ears wide. I want you to take your pencils and your pens out, and so that you can take some notes from Pastor Jeff. Look, as a pastor, having talked to a few men who have gone through this, and this is an issue that is not just secular, but it's also within that realm of Christianity and other religious beliefs, because a man is a man is a man. Now, the question, I will tell you, when asked by a woman, 9.5% of the women that asked that question have been cheated on. And they're looking for a simple answer to a complex situation. So there is no real simple answer, butterflies, as to why a man cheats. But let me tip you to this. The majority of men, when they go into an external relationship, it's physical and not emotional. It's physical and not emotional. Now, men may or may not understand that for a woman, intimacy is more emotional and then it becomes physical. You need the emotional first. You want the physical. We all want the physical. But for a man, he wants the physical first, and he may or may not tune into the emotional side of it. That's why a lot of men, they will cuddle because you want to cuddle, but when they're done because it's a physical act. Now, when you as a butterfly process a physical action that the man has taken and you process it through your emotional reasons, then you get it all wrong. And so a man, I'm not saying that it's right, but he did something physical. In most cases, he gets caught. He doesn't admit it. But when he gets caught, he asks forgiveness and he wants it immediately because he doesn't have to go back out and do it again. But you cut him off. You're like, you're gonna pay for that, brother. He doesn't want to pay for it in that way. And so that's part of the complex answer. Now, when we get into the complexity of it, it could be something that's in it's generational habits. It could be something between the two of you. That is the reason. Maybe you cut them off. Maybe you a mud deer and put that nickel between your leg, between your knees, and you've been keeping it shut tight. Maybe you a super Christian woman and you've been fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, and he tired of you saying no. Maybe he just tired of getting rejected. Or he got to go in his pocketbook every time he finished. I don't know, ladies. I haven't been that bad. I have talked to a lot of them. So, ladies, there's no simple answer to why men cheat. But we don't like punishment. I tell you that. Cheating or no cheating, men don't like to be punished. And so we want you to forgive us. We want to move on. And as one past president said, it's time for me to get back to the business of America. And the man was saying, it's time for me to get back to the business of being your boyfriend, your husband, and a father. So, ladies, there it is. Look here. This question brings up another one that I want to ask the men. The men, this is a question that I want to ask you because I've noticed this, the sentiment among men. And Minister Jonathan brought it up. Why is it that men consider a woman to be damaged goods when she slept with somebody other than you? Why is it? Steve, why is it that men consider women to be damaged good when she's on the other side of the coin?
Well, that's the society which has conditioned man's mind that when a woman cheats, that's cheating. When a man cheats, it's okay. So if somebody comes to know, hey, that my woman is cheating on me, and that is a real damage for his mindset, his positivity, his mental health, because he will definitely feel down that how did this me? Ego. It's kind of that level when a man doesn't want to get down on that part. He'll say, I'll do anything, but my woman is loyal to me. She's not going to do this to me. But when he comes to know it's done, and that breaks his ego, that breaks his that all trust, and he goes down to that, and he is no more trusted into that women. So why that happens? Because when women do this, it is one fine thin line there. As I said, that the society has conditioned men. Like I have seen so many cases wherein the son is doing a lot of things, have so many girlfriends, is going out in it. That's not anything. But when a girl is doing the same, having a boyfriend, it's a big issue in their house.
Mm.
Why? Because he says, hey, you my sister, hey, you my daughter, you spoiling my name, you're doing all this, just coming on that, girl. But not looking at themselves and what they're doing worse than that. That's the reason they just try to protect their image to their, that reputation. But coming to the point, like reputation is like a shadow, but character is the real thing. So they feel it's a some bad spot on their character. That's the reason they take it that way.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Want to go to Brother Chris. Brother Chris, why is it that men consider women to be damaged goods when they've gone out?
It comes back to that question. A man don't want to share what he has. Mm-hmm. And that woman, he knows that she just went and gave that other man what he was getting. Mm. And he ain't going to forget it. It's going to eat at him. Because one thing about a man versus a man can only think of one thing at a time, and a woman can multitask.
All right, I hear you.
So when a man's on a one-track mind, we're on a one-track mind. And when it bothers us deep. And the other part is we will just put out negative to her, mm-hmm. where she's sitting there. She might have gave us some negative, but then, like we all said, she puts a dime between her thighs and turn around and make change because she's pinching it so tight.
He say turn around and make change. I hear you,
Chris. Time for us to change, and it's just time for society to realize things. And I love these discussions. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to the clubhouse. Ladies, go ahead. Butterflies, put some black and white hearts in the chat if you are getting something out of this conversation. And I don't know why you're not, because we're answering your questions today. We're going to go to my namesake, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, very quickly, Jeffrey, why is it that men consider women to be damaged goods when they've stepped out?
Some of us, not all of us, right, is very selfish. We can give it and can't take it, right? And we're very ego and competitive, and I think that's what it is. We can't give it, and sometimes we don't realize. What we are doing until it comes back to us, right? And then you realize you're wrong, right? It's not good to do that. Being vengeful can lead into a whole bunch of other drama, right? And hey, my wife cheats on me, I'm gonna go cheat on her. The person I cheat with, I get pregnant. It can go so left so many ways, right? That's why God always say, hey, vengeance, right? And I think that's what it is. I think us men, we might not admit it, right? That we can't take what we give out sometimes. It's like what Mike Tyson said. It's different. You feel different when you get punched in the mouth, right? And that's like the ultimate punch to the heart. So that's my point of view, and I yield the mic.
Thank you. We're going to go to Maurice. Maurice, how about it?
Hey, for some of us, it's a question of trust. That is a sacred bond and trust. And if that trust is betrayed, that's it. For me, it's like that. You betray that sacred trust, I'm done. That's it.
All right. Very succinctly and straight to the point. David, how about it? You with us, David?
Yeah, I'm here. So I think the answer would probably be insecurity, I guess. I mean, I don't necessarily think a woman would be damaged goods just because she did that. That's not how I think. But if someone thinks that way, it might be that they're insecure in their manhood and they, there's competition now. And so can you deal with it? So, I mean, I went through some of that, and I didn't consider it to be damaged goods. Obviously, I was hurt, but it's not like when you say damage.